Hello, welcome to the Minimalist EDC. My name's Chris, and today is another new knife day. So I'm really excited about this one. If you watch my channel, you've seen that I do some trading on the forums, and a lot of the knives I get are new to me, which, still a wonderful experience. But this one I've been wanting for a long time in the right configuration, and so I've looked for it and have not found exactly what I wanted. And at this price point, I had no intention of settling for less than exactly what I wanted. So when it finally became available, I jumped on it, and I have a brand new knife. So I'm going to use the Quiet Carry Waypoint to unbox this guy. And because of that, let's get some paperwork. We have another Quiet Carry knife. Surprise, surprise. Let's see. It comes with, looks like a little microfiber cloth. And some stickers. Fantastic. Who doesn't like more stickers? Cool. So, what we have here, I'll leave that up there. Why not? What we have here is another Quiet Carry model that I've been lusting after for a little while. And so, look, we went over with the other package for the Waypoint. This one, I really like the way they do their packaging. So if we look at the packaging here, you're going to see that we have a bunch of little dots that tell you exactly what's in here. So this is the handle material and blade material. So we'd have like G10 and the color of the G10, or titanium and the treatment of the titanium. So we got titanium, knurled with a stone wash, and the blade is stone washed. And we have a drift. So let's take a look at it. A little magnetic closure on the flap here, this side. Oh man. So we have our little lifetime warranty card. That's kind of neat, but this is our prize. And so you can see that knurling, that really nice millwork, and we're going to get into that in a deeper conversation here in a second. But let's open it up for the first time. Oh yeah, that felt really good. Okay, so let's get a close look at it. So we have knurling on the handle. It has a really nice texture, really nice grip. And then we have the stone wash finished on the blade. And then on the reverse here, we have a stone wash finish on the handle with the little clip on the bottom. So let's get this out of the way real quick. I want to show you how big this knife is, because this is kind of one of those consummate EDC knives. So we'll start with our standard American $2 bill, and then I will put it up against the Quiet Carry Waypoint. And because I have a few knives within arm's reach, I'm just going to put a few up on the screen. This is the Civivi Elementum, the Benchmade Bug Out, and the Spyderco Para 3. So see, it falls really in this like really good size for EDC user. It's not too big, it's not too small. It's kind of falling in this range for a lot of these knives, and so that's what really drew me to this knife. And one of the things that I'm noticing right out of the box is this thing is thinner than I expected. This thing is really thin. The blade stock is thin, the handles are thin. Versus a bug out, which is a kind of a small knife to begin with, we're going to see, I believe this guy's going to come in thinner. Yeah. Well, let's bring it up a little closer to you guys. If I can get this. There's our focus. Yeah. The Quiet Carry is coming in at quite a bit thinner than the bug out. So it's thin in hand, it's lightweight, it has a really good action. I'm noticing that either the lock bar is a little tight or this thing needs a little bit of grease. The close is not as smooth as I would like it, but that's fine out of the box. I can take it apart, and during our disassembly and maintenance video, which will come up after this one, we'll take it apart, look at it, and see exactly why it's a little bit stiff. But I suspect it's just, it needs a little bit of lubrication in this joints. So why this one? This one, I've seen drifts that are available on the secondary quite a bit, but there's so many variations. So if we go back to our box here, I knew I wanted a titanium one, right? So we have, as far as handle material, titanium, you're going to have a knurled, a bead blasted, a stone washed, and then I'm not 100% what BL is. Maybe it's some sort of bead something. But we also have the satin finish, the stone wash finish, and again this BL finish, which may be some sort of bead blast. Again, I'd have to look at their website and see, but I knew I was laser focused on exactly what I wanted, and here's why. I want this to be a user. I want this to be a knife that is in my pocket on the daily. And with my experience with this guy right here, the Waypoint, this thing is a fingerprint magnet, and which is not, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, there's nothing wrong with this knife collecting fingerprints and smuts and not having this like beautiful finish when it's clean. But I wanted a user surface that I can use on the daily and not show wear. And for me, a stonewash knife is exactly what I want for that. And also snail trails. So this Waypoint, again, we're going to go back to that. If you can kind of see the finish on this thing, you see all that wear, the pocket wear that shows on this. I think this is the bead blast finish. I'm trying to get there's nothing defective about it. It shows. And little snail trails and little user marks on the knife. As someone who appreciates knives and the aesthetics of them, like this look is just not what I want. There's nothing wrong with it. It shows character, it shows use, but it's not what I want, on my daily user. Whereas a stonewash, little snail trails, little things aren't going to show, and on this knurling, this milled pattern, it absolutely will not show. And on your backside, being completely stonewashed back here, it's going to hide a lot of that use as well. So for me, this is a user, and that's exactly what I want it to be. I like this size knife. There's other knives that are like in this category. Like this is a TRM Neutron 2. It's very similar size, similar type of EDC potential. You're going to see, again, like they're very thin, very slicey. This is my style of knife. Thin, slicey, thumb studs, lightweight. This is what spends time in my pocket, personally. So, ergonomics. We have two positions we can hold this knife, right? We have your standard position like this, where I can see if you had I wear large size gloves, so if you had a larger hand, this may not be the most comfortable for you because it does have a bit of a prescribed grip, where the horn right here and this protuberance right here do cause a bit of a limited area where you can put your hand. But my hand fits in perfectly right there. But we also have this choil right here that allows for a choke up. So you can go from this position using the knife for push cuts, whatever you need to do. And if you really need to do some more detailed work, you can get up in there and hold it with a much firmer grip and put your index finger in that choil. One thing I'm noticing with that choil, let's get a little bit closer on the knife. This guy right here, focus. It's very, very sharp right here. Like the knife itself is going to come out of the box screaming sharp. That's what I've experienced with all the quiet carry knives. And putting your finger in the choil where your index finger kind of contacts this area, like I am a little worried that it's kind of pokey. That it may cut a little bit. So some of you may find this blasphemous, but I may actually end up knocking that point down, just so when I go from this grip to this grip, I don't accidentally cut myself. Someone with smaller fingers, you might not find that to be a problem, and that's fine. But, to each your own, use your knives the way you want to. So looking at the aesthetics of this knife, I really appreciate kind of the minimalist design of it. When it's closed, it has this almost, I'll put it like teardrop shape where it goes kind of a little bit of belly and then rounds out right here. In the pocket, that's going to feel real good. I'm not the hugest fan of these wire clips. I kind of wish it was a milled titanium pocket clip of some sort, but not going to take any knocks off for that. This is the way that these are designed. Looking at the design language of this knife, you see these 4 dots, and they're reminiscent of kind of like the dots you see on the box, right? Like they show the character in the design, and there's 4 dots here, and you're going to see that here again on the waypoint. Like that's kind of the signature is the 4 dots. I kind of wish I knew the backstory on that a little bit. Maybe I can do a little bit of research and find out, you know, why the 4 dots, what that signifies. I really appreciate the covered screws here. So let's again come a little bit closer. You can see on the knurled side, come on, focus for me. There we go. On the knurled side, we have the screw covers with this really pretty milled surface. It's shiny. You can tell that there was some effort taken into getting this look the way it does. On the back side, of course, we have all the hardware. You're going to have all the screws that hold this thing together. But I am a big fan of the show side not having hardware on it, and this kind of delivers on that aspect of what I really like about this knife. It deploys great. I don't have any qualms about that. The jimping is functional. So if you've seen some of my other videos, one of the things I always hit on if they have non-functional jimping is like putting the jimping like down here where your thumb doesn't rest on. But like this one right here, the thumb rests right here in this overhand grip. If you're going up on the knife, your thumb is probably up here, not really back on the jimping, but that's totally fine. Like if you're choking up on the knife, you're getting a good purchase on it. But for your average everyday holding it by its designed intent on the handle, your finger hits right on the jimping, and that's a-okay in my book. Big fan of the blade width. It's very thin, exceptionally thin, and we have what, you know, it's almost a full flat grind. There's a little bit of a flat up here, but it goes all the way down to a razor's edge, and it comes out of the box stupid sharp like that. That is an amazing edge. The edge is carried on a very special steel. So if you're not familiar with this brand, Quiet Carry knives are in Vanex or Vanex Super Clean. So you'll see that on the back of the knife right here. Vanex cannot rust. That is the biggest draw of these guys. Like this would be a good knife to take hunting, camping, fishing, any sort of outdoor activity where you're going to put this through a lot of humidity and salt. This type of knife will not rust. You have a titanium handle, titanium bolster lock, and a steel that is incapable of rusting. So I live in Alabama. It's most of the year it's very humid. It's very hot here. I don't really have an issue with my knives rusting. Like even, you know, your standard D2 knife, I'm not showing rust on my Elementum from living in the South. I do clean them. Like I don't put them up wet or dirty. And I do maintain them, but it is a concern here, and this will probably be my go-to for outdoor activities and camping going forward, though, just because that eliminates completely the thought or the worry of rusting the blade. I like the blade shape. It's a big fat blade. So with the other knife that I have in my collection, this Waypoint, it's a great EDC pocket knife. It's going to perform a lot of tasks, but the fact that this thing has a big blade for normal grip, choke up grip, if you need to do some scraping, you have a lot of belly to grab the blade and do your scraping. You can put your finger on the tip and do draw cuts. You can do I always call it the apple cut, like if you're putting it in the back of your hand and like pulling it forward to cut something. This has a lot of utility that some other knives don't, because you have a lot of the blade to actually work with. And I akin that to something like a chef's knife. So if you're working with a chef's knife, if you're holding the chef's knife properly, you're not holding it by the handle, like you're using a pinch grip on it. So like something like this, if I were like cutting rope or doing draw cuts, like this allows me to grab that pinch grip and actually control the knife a little bit better because it has the surface of the blade for me to grab onto. Big fan of that. So kind of in conclusion, I'm really enthralled by this knife. It's been a long time coming. It's been almost a year that I've been hunting this one. I've been looking for it on the secondary in exactly the configuration I wanted. Did not find it, and so they finally put it up on their website that they were going to offer it in stonewash with knurling, and I jumped on it. So big fan of this. This is going to spend some time in the pocket, so we'll probably get a much more comprehensive review in the near future. And in the immediate future, I'll be taking this apart to do some maintenance on it, add some oil, and get it running really smoothly. So you can look forward to that very soon. But as always, thank you for liking and subscribing. It really helps my content if you were to just throw me a like or a subscribe. I hope you have a great day, and see you next time.